Yo, what is up, everybody? We have a special guest in the house today, right off the bat. Voch, the Goat Lombardi. What's going on, man?
What's happening, y'all? Right brick on my brick. This has been long overdue. When two clash like this, y'all should tune in, stay in, hit the like button and all that good stuff because you hate to miss things like this. What's happening, y'all? Thanks for having me, Joe.
Yeah, indeed. We've been trying to get this thing going here, and we finally got it linked up, and it's gonna be a good treat for you guys. You know, we're gonna dig into a little bit of free agency strategy. You know, got to hit on Dak Prescott, and the draft, obviously. So, without further ado, Voch, Dak Watch. Let's get this out the way. What are the Cowboys doing here with Dak Prescott? And you're starting to see some comments from varying veteran quarterbacks outside of the league chiming in and this and that, giving their 2 cents. What is your thoughts on the Dak situation as we sit right now in February now?
I really try to be quasi-safe about this. I'm not going to promise it because I think this should be so one-sided, but the problem is that it's not. I think all Cowboy fans should be on the same page with this. And it come off like I'm attacking people when I say, like, what you mean you like Andy Dalton better than Dak Prescott, you idiot? Or what do you mean you don't want Dak to be your quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we should all be simpatico, Joe. We should be on the same page about this. I think, like, we looking at the wrong people. Like, some people hating on Dak in this thing because they'll make up an imaginary number. Or I don't want my quarterback at $50 million. Who said that number? What that number come from?
Yeah.
Who said that? Or they'll be like, oh, Jerry and them don't want Dak to be the quarterback. Like, they offered him 5 years, whatever it was last year, and they came back like this week or something, 5 years, 175. So it's not that. Todd France is the enemy, right? Like, Todd France is the one that's making this hard for both parties. Like, Dak wants to be the quarterback. Steven and Jerry want Dak to be there. Like, we see this. It's just that Todd wants to make this thing what it is. I think what the bigger problem is that sometimes fans we need to stay in fans' places if we don't know what's going on, right? If we're going to get emotional and irrational behind this and be like, oh, I hate everything that's going on because this isn't done. This is what negotiations are like, man. We going to act like we don't like each other. We're going to cuss each other out. We're going to say the money ain't this. You're going to say you ain't worth that until we get to a deadline. And then if it gets signed, it'll be what it's going to be. If it don't get signed, I'm leaving and going to whatever team Dak playing for. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I agree 1,000%. It's getting goofy now. You're getting a lot of these crazy rumors. Fans are getting, they're on edge. They're worrying about Matt Stafford. They're worrying about Andrew Luck coming back now. I mean, fans are just like getting crazy with the situation, man.
And Joe, let me just please be clear. Dak Prescott is a top 3 quarterback in the league, and he's better than Deshaun Watson. So let me just be clear on my stance on this thing. He's going to get paid. He will get paid. I don't think, I'm not one of these people that still think Dak is a knucklehead. I'm not one of these knuckleheads that think he's a bus driver. I watch film, bro. You watch film. We've seen Dak get better. If you want to get into the nuances of the argument, we can. But you can eye test this thing and see how much better that dude got. It's just that some people don't feel comfortable with being wrong with an argument. So they'll wait around until they're right about something. So every quarterback goes through this period of they get figured out. Then what? So Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, no matter what happens, no matter how good they start, coaches get film and you get figured out, right? Dak Prescott got figured out in 2017. That's cool. If that's the year that you say Dak was trash, I'm with you. Dak was trash. I was on Tua Tagovailoa in 2017. But you can't say Dak hasn't got better. You can't say, oh, well, Dak is bad at deep passes now. Nah, he's ranked top 3 in that. You can't say that Dak doesn't beat good teams. Nah, he's like the 6th best quarterback in the league versus good teams. You can't say that Dak isn't you can't say he's not a winner. Prior to him getting hurt when he was in that conversation or whatever, he was like top 3 in wins for like 4 years or whatever. So you can't continue to make these things up, Joe. One last thing. I appreciate you letting me ramble, Joe, because I get passionate about this.
Absolutely.
The one thing that put Dak over the edge for me is that he's aware of what he's bad at and he fixes it. Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott in 2018, they both led the league in sacks. Watson was at like 64, Dak was at like 58 or something. So I got deep into my research, man. I was like, what's the problem? Why are these two guys are leading the league? Because they were holding the ball too long, Joe, basically. So why is it that Dak offensive line get worse? Deshaun Watson's offensive line gets better, but the next year Dak's sack total went from 56 to 23 because he got rid of the ball quicker. And y'all want to let that dude go that's projected to throw for 7,000 yards last year before he got hurt? Shut your face, man. Sorry, my dude, quit playing.
I know. I want them to get this thing signed. I'm dreading, like, I don't want this to go to a franchise tag again, and then here we go, and then we're gonna get into July, and then it becomes a distraction and all this other crap. So, Jimmy Johnson said it best. They should have signed him 2-3 years ago, and here we are. So it's like, I agree. I think they should have done this a long time ago. Now they're kind of, putting themselves in a little bit of a tight spot, I guess you could say, and now the cap. So let's talk about the cap, Voch. So they're projecting it to be 185, possibly, maybe even a little bit more. I think they're trying to figure that thing out here. But let's talk about the pros and cons of getting the contract done. So we can have a little extra money. We all know that they can finagle the numbers and kick cans down the road with some of the vets and open up some cash. But what would it mean for this team to get a contract done right now?
I mean, so first of all, like, Dak is big locker room guy, right? So, like, if you just sign your dude, regardless of the money, like, you can figure out the money situation. You can lie, finagle, you can cut people you don't like, you can get money. But if you sign Dak right now, regardless of whatever the cap situation is, man, your team, the morale bumps up one time because hey, man, we got our dude. We're not that far away, Joe. Like, we just got to make this defense not the worst defense I've ever seen in my life. If we just simply improve that to like the 19th worst defense in the league, whatever. Like, we're a damn Super Bowl team, Joe. And like with Dak's numbers, probably going to be somewhere around 35 to 37 or 8 or whatever. It's not going to be this imaginary 50 or 45 number that people coming up with. So just sign the dude, man. Plus, like, saving Dak's money to go get somebody else, how much money are you really saving? Like, if you didn't sign Dak and you draft some quarterback 10th overall that's worse than Dak, that quarterback still making like what, 16, 18 million dollars or something. So what big change are you gonna get with an additional 18 million? I mean, you'll sign some people here and there, but you suck at quarterback now. So here's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. So I want them to get this done so we can, concentrate full speed on the draft and, add some pieces, Voch. So let's talk about a little bit on free agency as far as Cowboys go. You want to supplement your raw with the draft and, get some blue chippers. And we're drafting high this year, number 10. So opportunity in the first round, but all the other rounds as well. You're picking high in the second, third, so these are really good picks for us this year. I think we need to capitalize. But Voch, as far as free agency, what's your gut feeling on what they're going to do? We're already kind of seeing rumors of some of these big names and things like that. But what is your realistic expectation as far as what the Cowboys are going to do?
I mean, what's probably in real life is going to happen. They're going to sign like Gerald McCoy maybe, and they're going to sign a couple like auxiliary people that we know that we're not super excited about. They're going to sign like 9 people that we care nothing about to fill out the team just so we can have a team to roll out on Sunday. And to be fair, that's a cool thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you just go get some corner that can play corner for you so you're not forced to draft corner, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I mean, that's a sound strategy or whatever. Like, the Cowboys not going to go out and sign the best guy out there. And I don't even think it's smart to do that. I think whatever you need, you can get in the draft. I don't think this team needs any more superstar players. I think we got superstar players, Joe. We need role players. We need auxiliary guys. I'm not like, I don't want to make a big basketball comparison or whatever because I don't really want to go there. But you can fill your team up with superstars all you want. And we've seen those teams lose before, but it's the team the stars and the role players to where, okay, I'm getting triple team. You got to hit this open 3 and you hit it. So that's kind of what I'm looking at now. So like at a few spots I'm looking at is like one tech, right? Like everybody's pretty like super big on corner or whatever. I'm not panicking on corner necessarily. I don't want teams rushing for 300, yards against us next year. So if you get a 1 tech, your damn 3 tech get better. If you got a good 1 and 3 tech, your ends get better. You got good pass rush from your whole D line. Your damn safety and cornerbacks are better. So I think you have to start there. Everything else just kind of falls into place.
Yeah, that's well said, Voch. It is. It's like a trickle down situation. You get that front, and then the back side of this defense should get better. Now, if we're going to talk a little bit about that, let's talk about these linebackers. As far as in theory, right? If you get better at defensive tackle and your ends get better, these guys are able to hit the gaps better, roam around, and make some plays. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that if we do that, whether it's free agency or the draft, do you feel that we're going to see a bounce back from LVE and Jalen Smith, or do we still need to think about upgrading somewhere there?
Nobody made me more sick last year than Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith made me sick. I hate when he get in front of the microphone and be like, well, as a leader of this defense, I just got to, I got to do this and that, guys look.
I know.
Like nobody's doing that, Jalen. But every time I catch myself mad at him, I cut him some bail and I be like, look at his D tackle situation. That dude has been good before. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean. We got stars, Joe. Like Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch in 2018. Them dudes was legit, Joe. I hate them now, but I would rather do what we did in 2018 to make them better than go out and find some new linebackers. Now, am I opposed to drafting linebacker? Nah, it's some linebackers I like. You want to sign some linebackers? Sure. Bring in somebody that's better. Fine. But I think even if you get a top tier linebacker, if what's his face that we just traded for last year with the funny name for the sticks for Effie, whatever. If he's the D tackle, no linebacker is gonna be good. So in my mind, okay, we push Nolan off the bridge. That's a start. I think we simply get better getting rid of him. If we get better in the interior defensive line, bro, I think our linebackers can be better. Can they be elite? I don't know, but they can at least be better.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. And that's where I feel like the front office and some of these moves that they did, this past season really, exposed a little bit, I guess you could say, as far as like a Dontari Poe, where the snap comes off, he just stands there and doesn't really do anything. I mean, that was a complete disaster, Voch. So as far as do you think that this team needs to change a little bit of the type of player they try to bring in here, even if it's a fourth wave free agent? Do they need to look at something a little bit different there as far as the player?
Oh, Joe, I know where you're going with this, Joe. You trying to set me up for this one. Y'all, the Cowboys don't like 1 tech and safety. Should we go get 1 tech and safety? Sure. If it ain't been working, switch it up. I think this is the year that they do it, though, simply because we kind of got everything else. There's no more weed program, so Randy here, and Randy making like $38 this year. He cheap too. So you got DNs, you got young 3 techs. If they bring back Gerald, you got young and an old 3 tech. You got linebackers kind of technically that you feel good about. You got 1 cornerback and you got a strong safety that you like. So what else the hell you gonna draft on defense besides corner, free safety, and 1 tech? Like what else is there to draft?
Yeah, I definitely want to get a 1 tech there. During the offseason last year was let's get Snacks Harrison. And some people were pumped about Poe, and he did have some film out there that showed that he's been productive before. But when he got here, it was he checked out. But
Joe, this is my thing though, man. The one thing I don't want to get into is anybody but mentality, because that's how we lose guys like Jeff Heath. Like I'll take anybody but Jeff Heath. And we end up with Darian Thompson. Now we're like, oh, well, shit, we worse than Jeff Heath. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's true. You can say that you want Snacks Harrison because you recognize him. Snacks ain't do nothing for the Seahawks. You can say that you want guys like Jamal Adams. Cowboy fans, I'm on your case again. Ain't you glad you dodged that bullet? The daggum Seahawks give up all those picks and they don't get no better they didn't get better on defense till Carlos Dunlap got there. Jamal Adams ain't make big change around there. Jamal Adams ain't catch no interceptions. He wasn't. He was a linebacker for them. He was blitzing. Yeah. He was an edge rusher for them. And they paid all that draft capital for him. Jamal ain't make big change like that. So I think what we got to do is not just get so caught up in a name because, oh, I recognize a name. Let's get that dude. I would rather the dude, Joe, nothing made me smile bigger. I was watching playoffs this year, Joe, because my team ain't in it, so I was pissed off. And like some dude from the Bills would just make a play, and I never heard of this cat before. And I'm like, I want that. Or like, I'd be watching the Rams and like Greg Gaines will make a play. I'm like, where are our non-big name dudes to make plays? I don't want no big name people. We got enough of them. Give me some miscellaneous cats I ain't never heard of before. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. And we're gonna see in this free agent cycle some of those familiar names like a washed up Geno Atkins and some of these other guys. And it's like fans gotta be worried about the name recognition. I especially what happened last year with the name recognition. I don't want to go through that again. So yeah, great point there, Voch. Shout out to everybody in the chat box. We do appreciate you checking out this show today with my special guest, Voch Lombardi, the Goats. Voch, as far as transitioning over to draft talk,
yes,
which everybody likes to talk about, right? It is draft season after all. So as far as the draft, number 10, let's go through a couple scenarios, Voch.
Sure.
Let's just say the Cowboys do what they've been doing the last couple seasons and they stay pat. They take the pick there at 10.
Right.
Who would you like and who would you kind of not really be all in on? Like, I don't know about this.
So this is my thing. Like I like most players. Like if 500 people get drafted, I like 486 of them. It just depends on where I'm getting them at. You know what I mean? So it's rare that I truly dislike a player. I dislike Greg Rousseau. It don't matter where if Greg Rousseau fell to the 4th and we drafted him in the 4th, I feel like I wasted the 4th on Greg Rousseau, the edge from Miami, number 15 or whatever, opt-out guy. In my mind, that's where I'm at. So everybody else, as long as we stay in general best player available value, then I'm cool with that. So somebody may be asking, like, well, Voch, what if that pick was offense? Sure, because you got 10 picks. You know what I mean? I believe in draft. Some people say that draft picks are lottery tickets. That's false. Your team just draft bad. You know what I mean? Like my team ain't got that problem. So I value second, third round picks a little differently than like a Green Bay Packer fan would. You see what I'm saying? So the only guys I'm really looking at 10th overall, I'm looking at Rashawn Slater because I feel like he can get there. Offensive tackle, Northwestern opt-out guy. If the corners get there, Farley from Virginia Tech, if Surtain from Alabama, if the corner, I mean, fine. I hate it because I don't feel like they're the best players on the board at that time. It's just a couple guys I think are better than them. Joe, I know we just talked about linebacker, bro.
Yeah.
They got a little kid from Notre Dame, man. JOK, Jeremiah Wosu-Koromora. He's just an angry, aggressive, mean-ass, little-ass dude. Good linebacker play from him. Probably like a top 5 safety also. You know what I mean? And if I can get a dude like that, then fine. You know what I mean? Or if I can get a dude like J.C. Horn. Whoever my best player on the board is at the time, I'll take that dude. But the big goal, Joe Rod, don't get me wrong. The big goal is to trade the hell out of that pick. So what I want is a quarterback on the board so I can get more picks in the 30s, 40s, and 50s because that's where this thing gets hot at. Because sometimes people will be like, oh, Voch, I will take a player at 10, at like 13, so I want to trade back from 10 to 13 to get that player. That's ignorant to me because if you'll take in this draft, especially if you'll take a guy at 13, you might as well take him at 10 because everybody from 9 to 58 gonna look real similar. You know what I'm saying? So I want a lot of picks in that range.
No, I hear you. I agree. There's not much difference, and people get caught up in. I wouldn't draft them there, but like you said, what's the difference between taking them at 13 or 14 over 10? You know what I mean? I agree.
Look, think about this though, right? When we were losing and we were like 4th overall, right? What were the names that we was talking about? We was talking about Micah Parsons, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley. We had 10th overall. Who we talking about? Micah Parsons, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley. If we trade back to like 14 or something, who might be there? Parsons, Farley, Surtain. So that should say something about what the top and what the middle of this draft is. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see if somebody, falls to you that you can't pass up again, like another CD Lamb. Like, what if a Jamar Chase falls there again? You know what I mean?
Draft him.
Yeah.
I don't want to draft wide receiver at 10, but if it's egregious, you have to take it because draft is more than just a this year conversation. Draft somebody in the first round is a 5-year conversation. Michael Gallup may not be here after the second year. So if the best player is Devontae Smith from Alabama or Jamar Chase from LSU, you'd be silly to not take that dude just because he's a wide receiver.
Yeah. And if we do stay there at 10, the way I think about it is if you're drafting at 10, you want somebody that's going to be on this team for a second contract. You know what I mean? So that's why, I wouldn't be mad at taking an offensive lineman, Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell Falls or whatever. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have the guy here for 2 contracts most likely.
Joe, no joke. Let me ask you this. Let's just kind of get into this nonsense. Yeah. What if Kyle Pitts is there? What do you do then, Joe?
See that like you say, Russo. Like I don't hate Pitts, but I think we're good right now with what Dalton Schultz did. I think he really popped up for me. Yeah. Going into the season, for me, Dalton Schultz is tight end 1. Jarwin, let's see what he looks like. You know what I mean? Let's see what he looks like. For me, I got him at 2. I just love the way Schultz looked, man. I think he ran well after the catch, physical. I think he improved his blocking. I think I don't want to abandon that there. You know what I mean? And that's somebody that you may want to consider to give a second contract, 4th-round pick. I think you can get a good extension on him at some point. But I can see where people want, a Pitts, you know what I mean? Especially if they're talking about, well, maybe he's more of a wide receiver and this and that. So, but I don't know.
I refuse, Joe. I'd be so sick. Like, I would appreciate the idea of having Kyle Pitts on my team. I just can't take that dude 10th overall because I know what happens to tight ends that go 10th overall or just top 10 or whatever. But all your favorite tight ends are second-round guys. They're day 2 guys. Plus, I think tight ends are a direct reflection of your quarterback. I could be wrong, but like, what great tight end in the league got like a terrible situation? Like, even like Kittle, who ain't got a great quarterback, but his offense is tailored to him. You see what I'm saying? So I think Dak and Kellen are good enough to make Jarwin and Schultz some of those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see this thing because look, like TJ Hockenson was one of my favorite tight end prospects of all time to watch and evaluate, and he ain't really tearing it up in Detroit to where you would expect like an 8th overall dude to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
If it's like Kyle Pitts in the 2nd round, we could talk, but I can't do Kyle Pitts at 10, player.
That's exactly what I say, man. I just like I don't know. I just wouldn't like it. For me personally, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah,
and the buzz factor historically, you look at the numbers, like Eric Ebron, some of these other guys that have gone high. It's taken them a while to actually turn into something. Who was the guy that they went high for San Francisco? I forget what his name was.
I forget every year. Like when there's a class, get all the old ones. So shit, my bad.
There's always that one though, and it's always like the top 15, top 10 that big names they do good in college, and I don't know what it is. They just don't do as well. I'm not saying that Pitts is going to be that, but you gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page, Voch.
Yes, sir.
Definitely on the same page. Now, let's say this scenario. Okay, let's say that they do franchise Dak Prescott, right? Now, what do you do there at 10 if there's a quarterback that's there, whether it's a Zach Wilson or a Trey Lance or somebody of that stature? Do you think about that pick?
No, sir. If we franchise Dak and there's a quarterback on the board, I'm getting multiple picks for that quarterback being on the board. That's just how I feel. Because look, man, and I stand by what I say. If Dak leaves, then I'm leaving with him. Because if you got a dude on your team that's nice like that, and if your front office can let a dude on your team go that's nice like that, I'm leaving. It ain't like Dak is leaving because he's disgruntled. It's like he's leaving and he's good, but you just don't want to keep him. I'm going. I'm leaving, Joe. I'm leaving. And I'll come back when it's better to be a Cowboy fan for my mental health, Joe. But if a quarterback is, I don't want to get worse at quarterback, Joe. I don't want to get worse at quarterback, man. Dak is a top 3 dude. Let's get that top 3. Like, okay, look, Joe Rod. We was watching Russell Wilson at the end of the season. I was like, man, Dak will never do no shit like this. We was watching Kyler Murray at the end of the season. Dak would never look this bad. I see quarterbacks in the playoffs look terrible in the playoffs. I go, Dak would never. We need this defense to not be 39th in the league. That's all.
Yeah, that's the same thing I said about Kyle Murray. Kyle Murray's got a little something in his game I don't quite like. I think he gets flustered. He rolls his eyes a lot. You can tell like there's something mental that you can shake him up mentally.
Yeah.
I love him though. He's electric, but you can rattle that guy a little bit.
Plus, Joe, can you imagine not signing Dak Prescott because you want to save money, drafting a quarterback at 10th overall, and that dude end up being Carson Wentz when you could have had Dak Prescott? I'm not here for it, man.
Yeah, that's scary. Definitely don't want any Carson Wentz's on this team. We'll see what these guys do. I'm kind of holding my breath, to be honest, to see, because I'm worried that these guys are going to screw something up, and I don't want them to. You know, you have a good thing going here right now, like you said. Just fix the defense.
Yep.
You know, do the proper changes. You know, you're going to have really good picks here, Voch. So let's talk about getting this defense better through the draft. You know, adding some players in this sorts of thing. Who in your mind is your rated your number one defensive player? You know, whether you take them at 10 or if you move down a little bit.
I don't even know, Joe. I don't know. It's like the more I watch, right? And like, I when I'm watching, I feel like the designation of best defensive player on the board, everybody should look at that player and be like, hey, that's the best player on the board. But ain't no Chase Youngs this year, Joe. Ain't no Miles Harris, ain't no Jalen Ramsey this year. I think it's just a wide open debate, you know? If it's my personal opinion, Joe, so like, I really like, so look, and this is I can change my mind all the way until the end of April. It's still early, it's February. Yeah. Bear with us. Like JC Horn is my top corner right now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But can I say JC Horn's the best defensive player? I don't know. Like Richie Grant is my safety one. I can't say Richie Grant's the best defensive player. I look at my linebackers, Joe. I'm not that high on Michael Parsons is like my third or fourth linebacker right now. Yeah. I love Zaven Collins. I love Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I can't call neither of them my player one. Now, there's this kid, Joe. There's this defensive end that wears number 15 from Miami. It's not named Greg Rousseau. Jalen Phillips, right? Medical history, kind of almost retired. He may be gun under the sea guy off season, you know, off the field issue guy, possibly. He my favorite defensive end this year, Joe. That dude's incredible. That dude's top tier. That dude is nice. That dude does everything that you want. That dude is incredible. I will take that dude, but I don't know if he's my. It's just a weird conversation, Joe.
It is. It's kind of a weird time to be a number 10 pick. And if there were some other drafts, like, you know, we might be looking really good here. It's like, hey man, shoot, we're good to go. But yeah, I feel you on that.
What I think the problem is, though, Joe, is that it's a difference between prospects and better players, right? So Michael Parsons is a better prospect. As a prospect, Parsons might be the best guy as a prospect. But I think it's players that are better than him. I think Nick Bolton is just a better pure linebacker than him. But Parsons is the better prospect. So he may be the safe play, but that don't mean I'm taking him at 10. You see what I'm saying? It's just a weird.
How do you feel about the opt-out guys, especially the ones that opted out with, you know, a little bit more of the early potential first, second round guys that opted out? What do you feel about that?
It depends. If I can quote Joe Randall, it depends on how much meat you left on the bone, you know? If I'm looking at a player that I feel really good about on tape, like if it's like Rashawn Slater, boy, I feel good about Rashawn Slater. I feel like he's complete right now. Boy, I feel good about Jamar Chase. I feel like I know exactly what I'm getting fresh out the box with Jamar Chase. Offensive lineman like Elijah Vera Tucker from USC. He opted out there back end, whatever. But I know what I'm getting from those guys. So it doesn't hurt me that they opt out. Guys like Jalen Twyman from Pittsburgh, he's another guy that he's the second guy I just don't like. D tackle. I feel like when I watch him, I go, man, that dude could have used another year to figure this whole thing out.
Yeah.
He ain't used that. Guys like Caleb Farley, guys like Greg Rousseau, they could have used another year to just work on Michael Parsons. I hate when people tap me on the show like, well, Voch, you can't hate those dudes. They was only 19 in this film. That's their problem. That's the plate that they prep for us. So if you're 19 years old and football makes you better at the things that you're lacking at, and you didn't play football, you can't hate me for not thinking that you didn't get better here. So they could be good. I just don't have the evidence.
No, it's a great point. You know, and we did see a couple of the opt-out guys in the Senior Bowl, and a few of them, you know, they didn't do as well in practice. You know, like a Nico Collins from Michigan.
Sure.
Uh, he didn't look good. He didn't show up in the game. Jamie Newman, I think, had a bad game. He looked rusty as hell. So, you know,
Deontay Brown, the left guard from Alabama, was like my favorite player on tape, but he went to the Senior Bowl and looked terrible, and I'm hurt. But I'm kind of fine with that because if I can get him in the 4th round, then fine. But I just hated to see him not look so good in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys even are going to participate in their pro day. You know, some of these guys, I don't even think they participate. Chase Young, right? I don't think, did he participate in his pro day last year?
I don't think so, but I don't think he needed to. Like,
he's a player he didn't need to, right? But like if we're looking like at a Michael Parsons or you know, like a Rashawn Slater, where, you know, with Slater, I think you're good to go. But with Parsons, if he doesn't do his pro day, I think, man, that's really risky for me.
And then also too, just this year, there's no combine.
No combine.
So hey, man, you know,
that's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge. And with the Cowboys, Voch, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Cowboys' philosophy as being kind of metric centric as far as, like, you know, their defense. You know, and I don't know if this happened recently when Rashard came in here, but, you know, talking about, oh, your DB's got to be 6 foot and above and that kind of thing. Voch,
sure.
Is this rubbing you the wrong way? Like, for me, I see players that don't fall in that metric, that they're still pretty damn good players. That, like, why wouldn't we draft this guy? Like, how do you feel about the Cowboys when they're talking about these metrics and these kinds of things?
You know, man, they pay people a lot of money to come up with these goofy little numbers, Joe Rod. But my top 2 safeties are under 6 feet this year. So Richie Grant 1 and our Darius Washington 2, like, they little bitty. But I think that Bob Sanders crawled so that guys like, you know, like Buda Baker can walk, and Buda walked so that guys like Antoine Winfield can run. So our Darius Washington, it's time for him to fly. You know what I mean? Guys like Manager or whatever, like, you can have 5'8", 5'9", 5'10" dude, put them in certain situations and be fine. But you just got to be aware of the situation. Like Jordan Lewis is a good cover guy, but if he got to cover Kyle Rudolph in the red zone from the nickel, it's gonna look bad for Jordan Lewis because he's like 8 inches shorter than that dude. You know what I'm saying? And we saw that in the Vikings game. So I just think, you know, get the shorter guy, especially like, we ain't talking about a 5'8" one tech. You know what I mean? Like
right.
A 5'8" free safety. Your job is to get to a landmark and bat the ball. If that's the case, then just do that. Just be fine with that. You know, if you draft a short corner when we go play teams, like if we play the Buccaneers, don't put your short corner on Mike Evans. Put him on Buddy over there. Put him on Godwin or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be better off.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And I'm just hoping that they can at least, like, consider or change it. Maybe Dan Quinn can have some kind of influence on there. You know, I know some people will say, well, Dan Quinn had Legion of Boom and all these other guys, but I mean, you know, you kind of have to look at what he had at Atlanta. You know, I think speed is something that he liked there at Atlanta. But I like Asante Samuel. He's one of my top cornerbacks, and I just hate that I have a feeling that they're going to cross him off just because he doesn't hit these ridiculous metrics. And it's I don't know. I think it's a disservice to the team, especially we're talking about defense. Like, we got to get better, and you want players like this, Voch.
Yep. And also, like, another note on Samuel is just because he's a short dude doesn't mean he's a nickel guy, all right? He just got to automatically play. He's an outside corner. He's just shorter. You know what I mean? But that's where he's best at. He's like super aggressive, play the ball guy at outside corner. So just leave him out there. Don't put him in a situation where he can't play. If anything, to be fair, Patrick Surtain is more of a nickel corner than Asante Samuel is, in my opinion. I think Pat Surtain would be a great nickel corner because he's more quick than fast, right? So just put him and let him try to be physical with the nickel people, because something else that we're seeing in the league that's evolving is that we're seeing bigger slot guys. CeeDee Lamb is a slot guy now. He's not 5'10". He's a bigger slot guy. We was talking about my cat from Texas or whatever, played for the Saints this year. Lil Jordan Humphrey. He was a dude. We was talking about drafting him as a big as a big slot receiver or whatever, plus tight ends or whatever. So I mean, get you a big guy, put him in the nickel, get a small guy, put him outside. Follow the set of skills and not just the size, you know?
Exactly. Let's see what the front office and these guys pull out their ass this year. So yeah. I mean, you see these guys making plays every time. You know, you look at them and you're like, man, I wish we had that on our defense. You like a Honey Badger, right? Or Buda Baker. These guys.
But Joe, but Joe, let me see it. Be fair, Joe. For every Honey Badger, there's 15 short safeties that don't work. So that's fair. So we just got to find the right guys. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But like for the most part, like I'm pretty satisfied with how the Cowboys have been drafted. I think they had a great draft last year. I wish we'd used Reggie Robinson just so we can know what we got. I wish we'd used Bradley and not more just so we can know what we got. Like we forced the top 3-4 guys. We forced them into play. I wish we'd have we would have gotten a little more information about the back end of the draft guys, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point to bring up, Voch. So if we're looking at like a Reggie Robinson or Bradley and do you think this has any effect as far as like their draft strategy, or are these going to end up being camp bodies? Or are they going to actually get to compete? Like, how do you feel about Reggie Robinson and Anai?
Let me tell you something, man. Reggie could be great, but he ain't stopping me from drafting Richie Grant player. So it's Reggie's fault for not being better at practice, I guess. But I would still like to know, because we just end up with 2 good free safeties. Then 1, we got depth. 2, we got a trade piece, and it's hard to find good free safety. So I would still like to know what Reggie could do. And if he don't play free safety, draft him, play him where you drafted him at, put him back at cornerback. Like I said, I'm not super high on just panic drafting at corner. If we don't get a corner in the first round, I think we can wait till like the 3rd and be fine. I want to fix my daggum D line first. As far as Bradley and I goes, listen, man, I'm sure that if we just played him, he'll be better than Dorrance Armstrong. And I'm glad somebody got fired. I don't know who got pushed off the bridge here, but whoever decided Dorrance Armstrong needs to play more or as much as Randy Gregory, I hope they got fired. I don't wish got fired on nobody, but I hope y'all ass got up out of there, because Randy should probably be playing 50-some snaps. Bradley should get 12 to 15. Dorrance should get his 10 to 15 as well.
Yeah, it was a crazy thing. And we did kind of see Jerry kind of use his flex to do that. I think once he mentioned it, they did put him more in there towards the end, but it was already too late. It was like, man, what the hell were y'all doing on defense this year? It was crazy, dude.
We deserve it, man. We deserve it.
Yeah, it was wild. Oh, boy.
Chat box, by the way, man. Chat box holding it down. I just been looking at him, seeing if anything, you know what I'm saying? Seeing if anybody saying anything mean about Voch. Everybody seemed to be cool, man. So, hey, man, appreciate y'all chat box saying nice things, man. Appreciate y'all. Salute.
Absolutely. Shout out to everybody in the chat box. If you have questions for Voch or us, put them in the chat box and we'll post it up here. Voch, as far as what they need to do as far as defense on the line, because we did bring it up here. As far as you get better on the line, it trickles towards the back end of this defense. As far as defensive line, I feel good about Gallimore, Tristan Hill.
Yeah,
I like how he was looking, but to me, it's still a little bit of a question mark. But where in your mind do you think the Cowboys, if they do go defensive tackle, where do you think they might realistically take a pick?
And that's a good thing about D tackle. See, and that's another thing that gives us more freedom to just get the best player at 10, because we talked about earlier those. So safety and D tackle aren't like super valuable when you look at them in the league or whatever. I call BS on that, but the league doesn't consider them valuable. No. What ends up happening is one techs end up going like day 2. Safeties end up going, anywhere between 20 or so to the end of day 2 or whatever. So what that gives us the ability to do is take whoever the hell is the best at 10, and then you may have your first D tackle on the board at the top of the second. You know what I mean? It could be like, if you like Christian Barmore like that, I got questions. But if you like Christian Barmore like that, he'll be there for you in the second round. Whatever safeties you like will probably be there in the second round. Guys like Marvin Wilson, who I really like, he'll be there day 2. So it got to be one tech though. And I like Neville and Tristan as a pair, actually. And I think they're both 3 techs. So play both of them at 3. I think asking those dudes to slow down be strong and two gap wasn't the move for them. Giving Tristan credit, he figured it out. He just got hurt. But I think that just projects better for Tristan. That Tristan got better. Tristan played well doing something that he's not good at. Now, Dan Quinn likes it more when you just kind of bust ass upfield, penetrate, then find the ball or whatever. Tristan's good at that. Neville's good at that. You can watch their college film. You can watch camp film. You can watch whatever you want to find. They're better at that. So in my mind, let those dudes rotate at 3. Neville's big enough to where he can give you some one tech, but give me a guy like Tyler Shelvin from LSU in the 4th round. Give me, guys like Aleem McNeil. I don't hate it, but if you want to get him in the 4th or the 3rd, fine. People lose their mind over Davion Nixon like he's a 1st-round player. I think he's a 3 tech, so I'm in the 1 tech market. Levon Wuzurike plays 0, but if you watch his film from 2 years ago, he's a 3 tech. Washington just playing him out of place. But we don't need 3 tech in my mind. We need some 1s. So yeah, just find a 1 somewhere in day 2. Find a safety, preferably with your 2nd round pick, because those dudes going to run out quick. Last year, Delpit, Winfield, Xavier McKinney, they was off the board before we even got a chance to draft. So if sitting at the top of the 2nd round, that'll give us an advantage there. Drafting safety.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's always that run on a certain position, and then you're like, oh shoot, we're left in the wind now. So Voch, being at the top there in the 2nd round, I think it's, you're in a prime spot to pick up, one of these guys that you mentioned, like a Marvin Wilson, and these types of players.
Yep.
Who do you like there in the 2nd? Like if you're there at 10, let's say you go, let's say in the 1st round they grab, Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman.
Got to be Rashawn Slater, Joe. Come on.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, let's just say hypothetically, and I'm all on it. I love the pick too. Rashawn Slater, round 1. You get it here in the top of the 2nd. Who do you like there? Who would you like them to go for?
In my mind, it got to be free safety, simply because free safeties run out and free safeties don't exist like that. You got safeties that play free safety, but they don't give you all the great free safety traits. I think this year, a very rare year, people say they don't like the safety class. As a whole, I kind of agree. But what you can't knock is somebody that can play 1 high, and I think it's 3 dudes that can play it. Yeah. Both the Washington and Morrig, TCU, and then there's Grant from Central Florida. Those guys can play 1 high. If you have an opportunity to get one of those guys, you must draft them. This was my problem, Joe. That year where we drafted Tristan Hill, I still like the pick of Tristan Hill, but everybody wanted to go get some of those safeties though. A lot of them dudes 1 high. I know, Joe, you cuss plenty of people out on Twitter over that pick, but a lot of them dudes weren't really 1 high safeties. And though the guy that you got in the 5th round and Donovan Wilson, better than a lot of them cats. Like Taylor Rapp he's a rotational dude now. Juan Thornhill kind of lost his job and kind of rotated in a little bit. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson don't even play safety no more. They just play him at corner, right? So you just got to look at how rare 1 high safety is. If you got a chance to get one of them dudes, Grant Delpit was the only one last year, in my opinion. If you got a chance to get one of them dudes, a really good 1 high safety, especially with this new scheme that we're running, you got to get one of those dudes. Even if Christian Barmore is there, even if Marvin Wilson is there, and I love Marvin Wilson, I take Richie Grant in the 2nd and take my chance getting some defensive tackle in the 3rd round.
Well, spot on, Voch. I love that. I'm all on board with those 2 guys as well, Merrick and especially Richie Grant. And I think at least one of those guys will be there, maybe both. But Voch, explain to everybody watching, because I totally agree. In this scheme, that that safety is very important in the scheme. So explain to everybody why that is.
Well, because when you're playing cover 3, and every play won't be cover 3, but for the most part, cover 3 is basically just like cover 1. If it's cover 3, then both corners just got one of the deep thirds. So if it's a deep route, then you're basically just running them downfield as if it was one-on-one coverage. So what that gives you the ability to do is you can take other players and you can stack them in the box. You can play more run support. You can blitz or just do whatever you want to do with them, because you have one safety that's responsible for help on both sides of the field.
Yeah.
That's very, very important to what we're trying to do here. And you don't really find those guys. I'm going to keep harping on that, right? There's a reason why Earl Thomas was so important when he was good. He's an old man now. But there's a reason why when he was good, he was so important. Because you don't find dudes like that can just, hey man, I'm going to help on Browner's side. But if Sherman's in trouble, I can get there. If y'all watch my film session on Richie Grant, there was this play in the Tulsa game where he's just kind of hanging out on the right hash and the quarterback trying to get cute. I'm going to look off to the right side, stop and plant my feet and throw left. Richie Grant gets his ass from the right hash to the left numbers and makes the interception. That's what separates you as a special safety. That's what separates you from the rest of these miscellaneous people. That's what made Derwin James special. That's what makes Darnell Savage special. That's what made guys like Grant Delpit so important to me. You may not like Grant Delpit's tackling, but I was like, yo, I was looking people in the face, Joe, and said, I don't even want Grant Delpit to tackle nobody. I just want that dude to play one high. That's how important it is. But with a guy like Richie Grant, he can play one high both sides of the field, and he can tackle and play down the box. You got to get that dude at 42 if he's there, man.
Yeah, I'm there, man. That's what I want. I just hope he's there. I hope he's there. And
plus too, Joe, I'm sorry. One last thing. I don't think Cheeto's a bad player. Every time we pissed off at Cheeto look at the safety like, where was you at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just imagine if we upgrade there, having a good one high guy, Cheeto get better.
Yeah.
Gigs get better if Cheeto comes back. But go ahead.
Oh, it's true. It's true. And you know what I love about Richie Grant are his feet. And I think maybe this might be the advantage of not having a combine. Maybe not everybody's going to see this, because I think if Richie Grant were to be at the combine, man, he would nail that back pedal. I think those hips. I think
he covers like better than some corners. Honestly.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that if you want to just put Donovan one high one time and put him in the nickel or something, he gives you versatility, man, because that dude can definitely cover his ass off, man and zone. Yeah,
that's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
Love both those guys. Voch, as far as like the cornerback position, if they do you think that they're going to bring back Cheeto? Do you think they can get him on a reasonable deal, or do you think he's gone, they don't want him, or do they want him and they can't afford him? Like, what's your thought on Cheeto?
It'll make my day if he just kind of humble up and be like, hey, man, like, y'all just, y'all give me like $8 million, I'll chill. You know what I'm saying? If I can get that kind of deal for Cheeto, I'll definitely bring him back, because I don't think Cheeto's terrible. I think Cheeto bad. Cheeto had bad role players around him. Now, Cheeto's not a guy that can just go out there and just lock anybody up. And I want to help Cowboy fans too, because Cowboy fans just want to go out there and be like, I want to shut down corner. You ain't gonna find them. Them don't really exist. It's like 8 of them all together, and every team gotta play 2 of them. So that gives you an idea about shutdown corners. If you look at the 4 corners in the Super Bowl, none of their ass is shut down. They just really good. They advantageous. They got safety help. So in my mind, if you can get Cheeto for cheap, in which I know Cheeto can play, He just had a couple weird years, just like Jalen. If you can get those guys back to where they was playing well, get some solid safety help around them, get some more pass rush going. Yeah. I can see Cheeto being good for you, and I don't mind, signing Cheeto and still drafting corner at some point.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Voch. I wouldn't be mad at that as either. Now, as far as like, obviously, here comes the name recognition. Richard Sherman. Some of a lot of guys are talking about, hey, let's get Sherman in here. What's your thoughts on that?
Sherman ass in a lockdown corner neither, and at least with Cheeto, I'd rather have Cheeto because I think Cheeto's a lot more versatile than Sherman. If Sherman's only gonna run cover 3 with his back to the sideline, I mean that's what he does well. But like if you gotta play, because every play is not gonna be cover 3. I don't trust Richard Sherman in man coverage because it's tall, lanky ass, and he's a little slower. You don't want that dude running around with some of these guys. At least Cheeto can run, and Cheeto can play man coverage. Cheeto can also play zone coverage. I just think with his youth and his physical traits that he got over Sherman, he's a lot more physical than Sherman is at this point of Sherman's career.
Oh, yeah.
Sherman in his prime was the better guy. Don't get me wrong, but you're not gonna get that dude. So you might as well keep Cheeto. If Sherman is cheaper than Cheeto, then maybe you can make that conversation happen. But I just don't see that being a thing.
Yeah, no, I agree again there, Voch. We're on the same wavelength here. So as far as the other 2 guys that are set for free agency, I guess we can go back to this here. Yeah, Jordan,
Yo.
Xavier Woods. Any interest?
I don't care how cheap the contract is. Xavier Woods got to go. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
And I don't think Xavier Woods was a bad player for you. To say that you got him in the 5th round and to get as many snaps as you got out of him, I think that you hit on that pick. I mean, he wasn't going to be a lockdown type of, super safety from the 5th round or whatever. I think he did his job for you. I think Jordan Lewis did his job for you. I just think the marriage is over. It's time to move on. If Anthony Brown is going to be a placeholder for you till you can figure out what you want to do at that spot, I'm fine with that. He's on a cheap deal. Cool. I'll take that. But I'll take Cheeto cheap. I wouldn't take Jordan Lewis or Xavier Woods at all. I'm moving forward with Donovan as my box guy. I'm trying to go find me a free. If I can't get a free, I feel okay about Donovan at free, then go get in the box, dude.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Voch, we'll finish this out with our edge guys.
Cool.
Right. So DeMarcus Lawrence, he gets over. I mean, fans just really get annoyed by the sack production and things like that. But well-rounded still. What is your as far as where we stand right now with Gregory, Lawerence, and some of your backup guys? Where can we get better?
I think the wrong fans are upset about Lawerence. If you like, look, just like Jalen, look, Jalen Smith say go watch the film. Now, if you watch Jalen Smith film, you'll see plenty wrong. But if you watch DeMarcus Lawrence film, he does a lot of things that's not going to get him in the numbers column. And people like numbers, I get it. But at some point, you can't be metric dudes. You got to be film guy or gal, because we got Miss April in the chat box. Love you, Miss April. You just gotta use your eyes sometimes. So if I'm watching DeMarcus Lawrence and he don't get the sack, but he flushed somebody into Randy Gregory, that's a positive play for DeMarcus Lawrence. If DeMarcus Lawrence is on the outside and it's an outside zone play, and the offense is going wide, he gets wide, sets the edge. The offensive player cuts back inside and somebody else makes a tackle. That's a positive play from Lawerence. Those plays don't get logged, but that's what you want your left defensive end to do, right?
Yeah.
I tell people this all the time. But Voch, he should be getting more sacks. In my mind, he would get more sacks if the other team would stop running the ball so much. So what you got to do? Get you a one tech. DeMarcus Lawrence was getting double-digit sacks when guys like David Irving existed. So I'm not saying we should go get David Irving because he's been sitting on the couch smoking weed. He's been chilling. But I do think that if you're better at one tech, you'll get better at three tech, which gets you better at both defensive ends. Don't y'all think it's odd that no matter who comes in here, the opposite end of DeMarcus Lawrence always ends up getting the most sacks? Whether it be Quinn or whether it be Gregory or whoever, or Alden Smith lined up, or whoever's on the other side of D-Law, they always end up getting the numbers. I think D-Law will get the numbers if we can get some pressure off of him. That's where your one tech comes from. If you watching film and Antoine Woods is getting blocked by one dude, we wrong. If we watching film and Neville Gallimore is lined up at one tech getting pushed around because he's not in his man body yet, we wrong. Dontari Poe, big ass. Couldn't nobody move him because he was big as hell, but he wasn't going to tackle nobody. So they didn't need to combo him because he wasn't going to run around and catch nobody. Mm-hmm. So if you get you an active, big body, strong, powerful one tech, in which Marvin Willis could be that guy, Tyler Shelby could be that guy, Aleem McNeil can do it. Barmore will have a conversation about it if you want to. If you find a guy that can shore up interior, everybody else's life gets much better.
Yeah. And that was my focus coming into the offseason was got to get better in the middle. And I feel like I've been saying this for a couple years now, but I want a legit one tech and get somebody opposite of, Donovan Wilson. I think those were my two coming into this thing, Voch. And, great discussion. As far as, getting another person to upgrade, your depth or, possibly for future, because, we're talking about Lawerence, 2014 draft class. I wouldn't say he's getting old, but, we're kind of pushing on the careers of Zach Martin and these guys. So, it's hard to say how much longer they have, right? But if there's somebody in here that you want to groom to possibly be somebody that can be rotational and eventually, take the torch, who stands out in that capacity?
First and foremost, I think you should always look to get more pass rushes because one, yes, you can groom them, but like guys get hurt. Like you just never know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen with D-Law's contract, so it's always good to get guys. Dorrance can go. I would like to see Bradley and not take his next step. But I don't want to draft defensive end incredibly early because I feel like we're sold up at our first guys. So if we take DN, I'm looking for like third, fourth, not even third, like day 3 defensive ends to just kind of see what we can get. And which Dorrance Armstrong was that? Joe Jackson was that before Joe Jackson left. So there's this kid at the Senior Bowl made a lot of noise. I kind of watched it live. Everybody can just kind of tune into that on my channel. It's a couple of dudes at the Senior Bowl actually that'll fit that day 3 profile nicely. Ellerson Smith from Northern Iowa, crazy Senior Bowl week. I think he's a dude that's probably going to end up being like taken in that range or whatever. Bring him in and let him like compete with Bradley and I. Peyton Hudson, Houston, long ass arms, like he can stand up and his tippy toes touch his shins, right? Plus he got some good film. He did well. I'm getting him. Ohio State had a kid, Cooper, number 0. Good pass rusher. So what you're going to get with guys in that range is they may not be complete guys because if they was closer to like a Joseph Osai, if they were closer like a Kwity Paye or like an Azeez Ojulari, them dudes going first round. We're not going to get nobody there. So what you got to get is a guy that may not be good in the run, but they could tear stuff up in the pass rush. So Penn State Shaka Toney maybe is a guy that you can look at the edge dude for maybe. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's where it's at. Shout out to Lavelle here. Appreciate you, bro. Much love to Joe and Voch. Keep the great work. I appreciate you.
Luke.
Yeah, great work, Voch, man. I agree. And the Cowboys, they do go to the Senior Bowl well when it comes towards the draft. It's not players that people talk about in the early rounds, but like you just mentioned, some of these players that you just mentioned, they could be on the radar and they could be drafted by the Cowboys. So. Great conversation, Voch. Anything before we cut out here for this episode here?
Man, I feel like we cutting it short, man. I mean, I got like 10 more minutes or something. I mean, we could talk a little more. I mean, chat box, y'all got something. Joe, you got something. I mean, it feel like it just ran quickly, man. Like, give me some. I'm good to go. We straight. I got my water. We good.
Yeah, it does. It does go quick. It goes really, really quick. Let's see if anybody's got any comments in here.
You doing nothing else?
Let's see.
Shouts out to Joe Sandberg. Dylan Redunes is a beast, tackle from North Dakota State. And I normally don't like developmental tackles or whatever because I feel like they just not good. Like if tackles are any kind of good, even bad tackles go first round. But Dylan Redunes probably going to drop because he's not physically impressive, but that dude lines up and just blocks everybody. So definitely give me that dude. Senior Bowl dude. Nice.
Yeah, Redunes. Let's see what else we got here.
His name right, but
Hey man, you know what I liked that one year that you did the breakdown of the names. You gotta bring that back, Voch.
Man, I hate to say what I'm about to say. It's my views, man. Like if I put a lot of effort into it and 100 people watch it, I'll never do it again. But I'll probably do it again this year, just for fun. I'll do it this year. Yeah,
because there's some challenging ones in this one. I'm telling you,
some names. This month, Levi Onwuzurike will have you looking at the paper for a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Joshua Parker, if Dak left the Cowboys, what team would you want to see him on, Voch?
That got to retire, man. I'd be hurt. Because in real life, I'm not gonna leave the Cowboys. I'm way too loyal, but Dak just got to retire, man. I don't want to see that. I'm not even gonna answer the question. I'm not gonna entertain it. I'm not gonna manifest it. Josh, great question. But I'm just gonna not watch football, and I'll come back whenever they figure out a quarterback.
Yeah. It's just weird to think about, possibly him moving on in another uniform. You see like the jersey edits of him in like a 49ers jersey. That makes me want to puke.
Yeah, man. I mean, he should get signed, but I don't want to see him go.
I don't either. JOK at 10, Voch.
Sure will. If he's the best player on the board, though. I don't think he will be. I keep saying Rashawn Slater because I've been looking at the board, and the board just makes me think Slater probably could be there because I think quarterback is going to be a thing. Because look, if Slater gets picked early, then a quarterback falls us, and we trade back and we get help. But I think the quarterbacks are going to fill up like a top 5. The receivers are going to go there. Sewell's going to go there somewhere. I think somebody's going to mess up and take one of these guys on defense early, which would just make my day. I think Slater would just be there. And Slater got the best scouting report out of everybody. Like some people report say, well, they're tall, long, athletic, fast, blah, 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 blah. Rashawn Slater's scouting report says, I'll whoop Chase Young. Draft me. It don't need to say nothing else, Joe Rod. If that dude on the board at 10, let's boogie, man. But if he's not there and JOK is there and JOK is the best player, I'll take JOK.
Yeah. Yeah, on Slater, I feel the same way. It's like, okay, and he's in our division, so bring back the guy that shut him down. I mean,
Chase Young twice a year.
You're going to need it. Yeah, you're going to need it. Those guys. As far as the NFC East, Voch, who has the best front right now, in your opinion? Is it Washington?
Washington got the best front, but I think the Giants got the better defense because I think the Giants are better, the more you look at the defense as a whole. But in terms of D-line, yeah, it's Washington, sure. But, like, they spent 5 first-round picks on it. They should have the best D-line. You know what I mean? But, but I think when 4 come back and the ball start coming out quick, they're going to have to cover. And when the offensive line get healthy, they're going to have to tackle at linebacker or whatever. So, it's just funny to see Washington fans talk crazy right now, but I mean, we're gonna beat the shit out of Washington. Anybody worry about Washington, man? We'll beat the shit out of them, dude.
Yeah, we got to get that revenge on them, man.
Yeah.
Definitely got to get them. Jalen Waddle at 10. I'm not.
I like the player, but not at 10.
Yeah,
I wouldn't take Jalen Waddle at 10, but I like him.
Yeah, I like him too, but yeah, not at 10. It's too rich for me, I guess. Let's see what else we got in here, guys. Keep the questions and comments coming. Let's see what else we got in here.
If y'all ain't got no question, I'm just gonna go outside and work out. So y'all might as well fill this thing up a little bit for the next 5 to 6 to 7, 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Fill this thing up. Let's talk about it. Y'all ain't doing nothing else.
Mac Jones. I think it's an interesting question, Voch. Well, this is more of a comment, but this does bring up a great conversation. As far as Mac Jones, do you feel that he may move into this first round conversation?
I think Mac Jones is going to be close to the top 10 conversation. And he should be. And that'll be good for us because the more quarterbacks available on the board, the more guys that like quarterback, the more of a chance it gives us to trade back. As excited as I am about Rashawn Slater at 10, trading back is the first goal because I need some more picks to go along with my 10. But Mac Jones, he's just continued to show you that he can do it regardless of having the guys around him or whatever, right? And people will make the argument, well, Voch, look at the help that he has around him. Well, every quarterback this year, except for quarterback 1, Zach Wilson, everybody got help. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback 2, got help. Justin Fields, quarterback 3, got help. You know what I mean? Like everybody got receivers, running backs. So hell, Justin Fields, in the last 4 games or whatever that he played, he was just handing the ball off to the running back. I forgot the running back name.
Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon. Yeah. Trey Sermon's first half of the season got like 300 yards. Trey Sermon in 2 games got like 300 yards. Like he was carrying Justin Fields. So we just can't say it's a help thing. But when Najee came off the field, when Devontae came off the field, Waddle was getting off the field, he was still making those throws. He gets in the Senior Bowl practice. He was the best quarterback at the Senior Bowl practice. So I hope somebody love Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think so. I think he moved into the conversation, and it will be good for us. And I like that too. I wouldn't mind moving back. I think if you can get more picks here in the top 50, I mean, you're in business, and that's
sure.
If we're needing to fix this defense in various areas,
plus
that might be the route.
Plus, as a passer, I think some people will like Mac Jones as a passer more than Trey Lance. Like Trey Lance will sell you as the athlete, but if you're a team that ain't looking for the athlete, you looking for more like passing or whatever. Somebody might like Mac Jones. Plus, the most important part, Joe, teams suck at drafting. So you don't know what's gonna happen with Mac Jones. Mac Jones may go 3rd overall. Good for us.
We've seen that happen before. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, when he got drafted, I didn't see him going that high, and those Bears moved up to to grab him. I was like, sure. I don't know about that, and it did. It ended up blowing up in their face.
Long as it ain't my team, Joe, they can draft who the hell they want.
Yeah, it happens every year. We got to navigate the landmines because there are going to be a lot of landmines. The combine. Dang, I I hate that we're not having a combine this year.
Which also bothers the hell out of me about Cowboy fans that don't like Dak Prescott, because in the entire 2016 class, he's the only one left starting. So I mean, that's how hard it is to find quarterback here. What happens is they see Justin Herbert playing and they go, "Damn, I want to draft me a rookie to go get Justin Herbert." But these guys aren't sure things. Trevor Lawrence is not even a sure thing. So just keep your guy that's good already.
Yeah. You don't want to get in that. I mean, we see it every couple of years. There's that cycle where there's a bunch of quarterbacks taken, like that 1 year where it was Christian Ponder, Jake, I forgot what the hell his name was, went to the Titans. I mean, that was a disaster.
Sure. Jake Locker, yeah.
Jake Locker, there you go. Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, big mess.
See what else we got here, guys. Look at this one here. Voch, we got one here. Slater and Farley are on the board at 10. Who are we taking?
Slater. In my mind, Slater's the better player. Slater gave me – both guys are opt-out guys, so they're even there, but Slater's 2019 tape is better than Farley's 2019 tape. I don't think that the need at cornerback is so big that you can't consider Slater, because you could take Slater, put him at left guard, because you may be disgruntled about your left guard if you're a Cowboy fan. And whenever Tyron Smith wakes up with a headache and decides he don't want to play no more, put that dude at left tackle, he whoops Chase Young.
Yeah. That's facts. It'll be interesting to see where Tyron is in his recovery. I do like seeing Lyle Collins out there. He's working out with Duke, and he's looking good.
Collins got fat and ate crawfish sandwiches and just didn't think that seed was gonna happen. He was out of shape, and all that weight came down on his hip, and he wasn't ready. I think Lyle will come back fine though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, shoot, that's some good eating over there.
I don't blame him, Joe.
I don't either. Shoot, I couldn't do it. That's for damn sure.
Oh man, shouts out.
Shout out to everybody that joined us live here. Voch, man, I do appreciate you again for joining me here. We're definitely going to do this again. And, hopefully, we're talking about this offline, Voch. Mm-hmm. We're local. So, as we get through this pandemic, we should have some really good content with myself and Voch. I mean, he's literally going to be down the street, possibly. Me
and Joe are going to be within a 15-mile radius of each other, so we'll definitely get some content popping, man, for sure. We'll
have to do something, man. Integrate some wings and talk.
Can I get no food when I get over there? It better not be. It's definitely gonna happen, man. Cause look, man, cause like I've been to Law Nation crib, man. Law Nation crib like a castle, and people greet you at the door when you go to Law Nation house. I'm like, all right, cool, Law Nation house. So I've been to Mark house. I've chilled with Foots in person. So I gotta meet Okoye. I gotta meet Joe Rod. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. So look ahead to that 2021, depending on all this craziness goes on. But it's we should be seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully. 100%. But appreciate everybody that joined live. Appreciate the super chats and everybody that came and watched Voch Lombardi join the show today. Voch, appreciate you, man. You're the go-to-goats here. Yeah, you're one of my go-tos when it comes to breaking down film. I learned a lot. I know a lot of fans learn a lot watching you break down a lot of these prospects. So appreciate what you do, Voch, for Cowboys Nation. Hey, man. Thanks, bro. Hey, man, appreciate your kind words, man. I humbly accept all that. Virtual hugs, Wakanda forever, all that good stuff, man. Appreciate you, Joe, man. But you do good things for the community too, Joe. Don't get this mistaken. Hey, and then look, also too, I'm gonna say this too on camera. I'm envious of how fantastic Joe's setup is. I just got this goofy ass wall in space back here, so I'm gonna move in about a month or two. I'm gonna find me a good corner to decorate and some good lighting to be good like Joe. We all gonna make each other better, man. Steel sharp and steel, man. We're gonna make this thing work, That's what it is. That's what it is, Voch, man. Do appreciate you, but that's it for today's episode. Appreciate you, Voch, and we'll catch you for another episode. Peace, everybody. Salute, y'all.